Hello. Do you want to give me an animal handling roll, Mr. Voss?
More than anything.
Your first rodeo begins now.
Hey! Hey! Okay.
Welcome to your first rodeo.
You know, you take a moment.
Damn.
Hunting a creature like this is not something that is quick. With those two in stealth, even if Rakaf's like,
Only a little.
enough for Voss to notice.
Yeah.
You know, you take time and you wait. You know it's actually probably a little bit too early for the creature's usual hunting. But in 15 minutes or so, something does start coming out of the well. And not necessarily what you expected. While it might be called a mind hawk, its features are not... Well, there's some avianness to it. The mainstay of the body of this creature almost resembles a gigantic brain, almost 3-4 feet in size. And it has kind of a bird-ish head that's kind of stretches out of the brain with a large, sharp-looking beak that is kind of blues and purples and kind of a chromatic color. Kind of attached to the back, kind of like a brainstem, extends out 10 or so long, winding tentacles that almost pulse like a jellyfish as it pushes itself. It just hovers out of the well. Each of those tentacles ending with sharp but beautiful filamental barbs. What did you guys want to do? I'll give you essentially, you know, a surprise round. What did you guys want to do as soon as you saw this creature? No, I will
Seeing
have to
that
give a
it's
perception
not
check for it.
a bird of any variety.
No wings.
Yeah. Oh,
Rakaf is
okay.
going to look down at his bucket and be very sad. And then look over at Voss and essentially wait for Voss to act. So that's essentially if Voss acts in a more aggressive manner, now that we know it's not an animal per se.
No burb.
He might just throw the bucket on this guy anyways, and we might just light it on fire. Because that seems responsible.
Yeah,
I feel like
so
cutting off
the
its head is,
situation
that's
is
not probably going to work.
we have a surprise.
Where's the head?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe cut off its tentacles, and then it can't float. It's just it's a living ball.
That's quite how that works.
You have no idea.
No clue.
What were you going to do with your surprise round?
Head.
Rakath is holding turn. Voss. Torum, you got an idea
Torum.
first. Go.
No, I'm holding my action to the if it moves aggressively towards Voss, I'm
Okay.
firing the bolt instantly.
Voss.
Okay.
It relies on you.
Yeah, so as this thing comes out, I'm just like both surprised and not surprised at what I'm seeing. It's like, what is this? But at the same time, like, of course it's fucking something that looks like this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this changes a few things because I'm not really sure how to approach this. This isn't quite like a horse wrangling situation. So what I'm going to basically try to do is lure it close to the food, and as it goes down to start eating, I'm going to use my surprise round to just draw my sword and try to cut the head off as quickly as possible.
You're going to have to give me another animal handling to actually get it close.
Okay, sure.
You got it out. The creature remains in place, despite not seeming to have any visual eyes. You almost all get that feeling of it watching you, and with intelligence, with calculating, with cunning.
Interesting. Okay.
And now roll initiative.
Yep. Fair. This is interesting. Oh no, that's appropriate. It's okay. I just realized if it's seeing through thoughts, I don't know if it can see me or not.
Mr. Brain Man, think me a thought.
It's whether Duros have the same sort of thought energy that people have.
So Rakath, there is that like, and this is probably more than like a turn of like pause, as you're the only people here, and it is definitely watching you lot. What do you want to do? I just dropped a D4 and it vanished. This is why I never have any D4s.
Seeing that basically this is kind of the way this shit always goes. Raka,
What do you mean?
You know, he plans for things. No matter what he plans, it's always something fucking different because he lives in a
I shouldn't have planned for wings.
That's the problem. Luckily, the thing is probably still flammable. And so he's gonna throw the bucket of water and oil on his face, on this thing's brain.
Give me an improvised weapon attack.
Is this one dexterity because it is an improvised ranged weapon?
It is strength because you are hurling it.
But I'm not
Like
throwing
a
the bucket,
javelin.
I'm just throwing the water. Just to be clear.
If you want to do that, you have to get up close to it, which is fine.
Yeah, no. The intention is to run up and do this. Like, this isn't to be
That's
from
fine.
far.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, so strength still for the
No,
improvised weapon?
dex, because...
Oh, dex in that case.
If you want to go up close and make it dex, you can go up close and make it dex.
Sounds good. Well, yeah, that's a 15.
That's a hit.
plus
Yeah.
3,
Okay.
18.
So you coat the thing in this oil mixture, and that's when it lets out this screeching noise that you do kind of feel in your heads, as well as it being a palpable, real noise. It kind of does give you like a slight pang of headache.
Yeah.
As its tentacles all start to flesh out, and it clearly goes from still to aggressive.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna use a nice little cunning action and disengage back to where I was. Just to avoid any problems.
Next is Voss. I'll move the turn order in a second.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
It's covered in oil now.
that's
It is. It's oily.
super cool.
I'm Ollie. He's oily.
Yeah, I'm gonna just quickly stand up and kind of in one fluid motion, like run towards it, draw my sword, and cut up in its general direction.
Absolutely. It's still hovering, close enough to the ground that you can do that, especially
Aiming
with a
for the
frickin'...
neck for sure, but we'll see.
It doesn't really have a neck.
Yeah.
That's a hit, though.
Oh, excellent.
It also doesn't have any sort of, like... It's a brain. It doesn't have any sort of, armor layer. And that's a big strike against it. Enough that, like, the creature almost wobbles on whatever kind of axis is holding it in place as it recoils back.
Quick question, and that
Yeah.
I can definitely wait until my turn for this, but seeing it wobble, can I determine where its axis is?
Did you use your bonus action? Yes.
I did, and I
So
can wait
no.
till my next
Next turn,
if
yeah.
you want. Okay, cool. Absolutely.
The creature kind of snaps very quickly to the lot of you, kind of twisting. All of the tendrils kind of spread out, and they are going to launch at Voss. What's your AC again, Mr. Voss?
16.
Ugh, it misses. It misses with the tendrils. Each one of them kind of launches at you, and you can kind of tell it's trying to like grip at you and pull at the armor, but you manage to kind of move in some places so that it always hits, an armor plate, and the tendrils kind of bounce and have to recoil back. Failing that, it is going to make one sharp bite attack against Rakath. What's your AC, Mr. Rakath?
I did back up. Has it run towards me? Because I did disengage with my bonus.
Then you're good. I'm gonna do it against old Voss then. Ha! Which is gonna be a miss. Because it does kind of like bite, and it just kind of like crumples like a shoulder plate or something, but doesn't really get much else. The beak of this thing is huge-dormous.
Hunormous!
I like it.
Humongous.
Hunormous is like my new porn name. But it doesn't. It's that armor's gonna need amending. But other than that, Torum, I imagine you're a good 30 feet or so away. You got a pretty good view of this thing, because it's actually quite a broad target, being, you know, a 4-foot large brain.
Yep. So I've got the rope bolt in at the moment, and I'm going to fire that one.
Okay. That is a hit.
Okay. Oh, damn.
Oh, that with that much damage, the rope bolt just into the brain, and now you're close enough. The brain is like pulsing, and it kind of just flops in, giving you a rope to it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna grab hold of that.
Okay.
So, sorry.
Rakath, to really set the scene, I kind of imagined you and Torm were hiding together, so that rope is over your head right now.
Great.
To it.
I am running back down along it, back towards the creature. First things first, as a bonus action, I guess, can I determine where that axis is potentially with an intelligence?
Medicine. Or,
Medicine?
Yeah.
Medicine, intelligence?
Yeah. Medicine is intelligence. I don't give a fuck what you say,
Yeah.
D&D 5e, and Jarviskjir medicine's intelligence.
All right. Then in that case...
You have much more surgery than other settings. Yeah,
23.
where Torum said maybe we can cut off the tendrils, the brain is keeping it flying. The tendrils are definitely some sort of flight assist, but they're much more grippers and arms. There's some sort of telekinetic energy or some such is making it fly. You'd need to do a little bit more research in whatever powers such mind energy, but you know of it as a thing.
So then in that case, I I'm trying to be opposite of
no flanking
Voss.
in Theater of the Mind, because it doesn't wrangle, but yeah, you can.
What I'm wanting to do ultimately is get kind of opposite that, so that when I stab through under with my rapier, which is actually a kyogonto, so it's more of a slashing thing. Don't worry about it. Anyway, I'm gonna stab through his butt brain.
Brain
basically
butt.
is the idea. Yeah, brain butt. That's the idea. Anyways, to try and like destabilize him, pretty
I'm
much.
trying to make an intelligence check, but my brain is dummy thick. That's a hit.
Okay.
The
It's
dummy
8 piercing
brain.
damage.
Yeah, it's a big cut. There's kind of like a filmy, sticky membrane that you notice when you're this close to it, and you can cut through it, but it doesn't have the protection of flesh. You know, you're straight up cutting into this thing's brain, if that is brain. Acts like brain. You cut into some brains before in your time.
It's brain butt. It's brain butt. I'm aiming very specifically for the little piece of brain that sticks down.
It's the brain butt. I
brain
know what
butt.
you mean.
Yeah.
I don't know the science words.
I look it up because I don't remember off the top of my head because I am tired.
Voss.
I am going to take a really big sword and try to cut it in half.
It's a hit.
We are rolling.
You're doing real well.
Oh my god!
You do you hack down. This blade gets stuck.
I'm gonna actually action surge and attack it a second time.
Okay.
Oh! Yeah, the blade gets
The
stuck.
blade gets stuck. And you could wrench it out, and there is like a cleave in the kind of central part that keeps the two as you. But it does not fully succeed. This is when the creature is going to lash out at you again with its tendrils, and actually connect this time. Thank God, mama.
I attacked its cerebellum. All right.
Quote that.
Sorry.
The attack is going to do 9 piercing damage as the tendrils, which are coated in barbs at the end, pierce into your chest in a few places, and then the creature is going to lift. And it is actually going to fly out of reach, meaning Rakath gets an opportunity attack, and it is going to float while holding on to Voss up 30 feet. Voss, can you give me a constitution check? That is a hit.
Does it? Interesting. How does my rope latch onto it react to that?
Exactly the same, because it's... Actually, valid, it wouldn't be able to get up the full 30 feet because there's 50 feet of rope.
Yeah.
So yes, it can only get up 20 feet in the air, really. But see, with that, it would then start going, whoop, so it would still get to the same height. It's just now closer to you. Very freaking, valid.
It is 30. It is at most 50 feet away at this point.
Yeah.
Because that's the length. Of
it's
the
not though. Right now it's still 30, but it could never get more than 50. And it's kind of like, and that actually kind of means strangling Voss over Rakath. Torum, the creature is very injured. It's dripping grey matter from the brain. The pulsing is heavy and struggling, and it's dragging Voss off the floor.
Seeing that, what I'm going to do is, instead of being like, I was originally going to tug on the rope, but seeing that it's injured, I'm just going to wrap the rope around my arm, not like so I'm pulling a hole, but enough that I can grab it quickly if it tries to pull away. Grab my crossbow again, I'm going to take a shot.
That's something I will allow because you are made of metal.
I'm a literal anchor. Oh no!
And the shot kind of gets tangled up in the tendrils and doesn't actually properly connect anything.
Oh, okay. Go back to being an anchor.
Rakath! You've got a nice view up.
Up at Cerebellum?
What? Voss's Cerebellum.
Oh, Voss's Cerebellum. I am going to try and shoot the beastie with my Yumi. Yeah. Because why not?
That's a hit.
Yeah, that'll be 9 piercing damage.
That's not a kill. It's a good solid hit, and the creature squawks and continues struggling, but does not go down.
Voss!
Skill.
Can you let go?
Skill checks are a bonus action, right?
Yes, unless it's, escaping from a grapple, which
That's not what I'm going to try to do.
Okay.
You mentioned that this thing has kind of like a intelligence to it, it seems. I'm going to try to actually reason with it. And I'm literally going to hold out my sword, because it's grabbing me. I'm going to hold up my sword with one hand and my other one kind of bracing against it. And I'm just going to say, we merely wish to study you. You can retain your life if you come with us. Otherwise, I will cut you down immediately. And I'm going to try to do intimidation, I guess.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
And I'm going to then ready an action. So on its turn, if it doesn't fuck off, it's going to get attacked.
Oh, that was a roller coaster.
That was a real roller coaster.
It's really good. Something you figure is this creature probably doesn't properly understand the words, but the body language, it definitely understands, and it wants nothing to do with it. So on its turn, it's not going to attack you. It's just going to drop you.
That's fair.
Now, Rakath, if you want to use your reaction to try and grab him,
I do.
That will be either a strength or dex check.
I would love to see you catch.
Does he get a swing as he falls?
Nah. You're not high enough level for that cool shit yet.
Ooh.
18.
That's not a save, but that's fine.
Oh, well, it would add 2 to it if it's a save, which would be 20. If you'd like me to re-roll it with a save,
that's
say
fine.
A dexterity check.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
I thought that you say check when you mean save, and that you say save when you mean check. It's been a weekend.
Yes, because of that, the damage from the fall is going to be shared out between the two of you. So instead of Voss taking a full 12, you're both going to take 6 as you catch and have to fall under it, because he falls 30 feet. Not to be sniffed at. Surprisingly squishy.
It's a very comfy landing for you.
And then is going to try. You know what? It's going to make a beak attack against the rope, and of course it's going to hit. Question is, does it do enough damage to... this is why I shouldn't have my dice sprawled on my table. This is why I should be sensible. I have a bag, but no, they're just all over the place. And it actually is going to like bite into a rope and yank and tear and successfully snap it and then just kind of float over Torum towards just, you know, city streets. Doesn't get any further away than it was before. It's just on the other side of you now, Torum.
Okay, cool.
So, what do you want to do?
I want to take a shot at it.
Take your shot! That's a hit.
Oh, I missed it by 1.
You did.
Okay, well that's good.
Tragedy.
At least I hit this time. Oh yeah!
And that is going to be a kill. The thing, just like a frickin' like blimp, just whiz, and then hits the side of a building and just flops down onto the ground. The tendrils still kind of wiggle and move for a few moments before it completely falls limp.
Huh.
Ragnath is gonna rub Voss's head and then stand him up off of himself and then walk away and walk over to the creature.
I'm gonna use my second wind as you do that. And heal for 3.
Yeah, fair.
I want to look into this little beastie. Even while we're just on the street here, I want to take a quick look, and then I want to look at an in-depth look after we get some people to bring him into my dungeon so I can review him further.
You give me an investigate check.
An investigate check. You got it, boss.
Or a medicine check. I mean,
Well-
medicine's more of a long-term looking.
Yeah, investigation
It's a
for
very
now.
interesting creature. You know of illithid. You know there are creatures that are more brain than anything else, and this appears to be one of them. Whether it's linked to the illithid, I mean, that definitely is one of the things you immediately think of. Not that I don't think you would have met an illithid, but you definitely know of them.
And they explained the food process to us.
Exactly. The fact that this is brain. This is brain matter. And it's almost like the tendrils are like a giant nerve system as well. It's very strange. The strangest thing is it does have a full-on beak, no eyes, probably seeing out of almost echolocation or vibration or something. It doesn't seem like it was using any sort of telepathic magic or anything like that, or just natural magic.
Okay.
We got to wrap this thing up, and I'm not going to risk damaging it to get my bolts back. So I'm just marking those off as gone.
Oh, I will actually do what I can to remove all of the bolts and arrows from it when I'm doing the medicine check later. Essentially, like I want to do that once we transport it safely, and I can have more time to do it properly.
Yeah, you can dissect it. I was going to say
Yeah.
vivisect, but no, it's dead.
Vivisect is just cutting it in half. That's essentially
Is
a
that a
bisection.
misnomer?
Yeah. So you are
Gasp.
Yeah. I'm not gonna be doing a biopsy on it because it's alive. I'm gonna be doing an autopsy on it because it's dead.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we have I'm just looking around to see if there's a cloth or something to wrap it up in.
No.
I'm just gonna. How large is it?
It's around a 4 feet
4 feet.
diameter brain.
If there's nothing to pick it, like to wrap it up in.
The two of you could just pick it.
Yeah.
Both of
yeah.
I'd say the two of you picking it up and then me walking in front with my mask on now is probably enough that people will just stay away from us.
My plan is
People will
literally-
see that thing and be like,
if we use the rope, we can just tie it around it, and I'll hold one end and you hold the other, and we can just carry it between us.
Is there a large stick that holds like a bucket in the well that if we removed the
No, it's actually a stickless well.
That's disappointing, but it would have been fun to have it tied up by the tendrils like we're
So-
cannibals.
Gonna eat it.
here's a
Yeah.
question, Ollie.
Hey, it's
Here's
good
a question,
eating.
Ollie.
Yes.
How much of my rope got cut by it pecking it? How many?
Oh,
instead of a
only
50-foot
only like 5 feet. So now you have a
rope- Okay, so it's a
45 foot
45.
rope.
Yeah.
That's never, I don't think that's ever happened before where the rope's been cut and they've been like, I'm just going to keep the rest of it. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I am.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just it's never
a perfectly usable tool.
It's just never happened before, but I'm just waiting for like 20 sessions from now. You're like, well, I have a 45-foot rope, and it's just not enough. I'm ready.
When we have the chance, I will actually sear the end of the rope so that it seals back together, so you don't have a frayed rope.
Yeah. I mean, Torm will probably do that himself because that's the sort
If
of
you
maintenance
want, that's
Torm would be fine with doing.
You go for it. So that's fair.
Okay, carry this thing back to the dungeon.
Yes, very much so. Carry it back to the place, and
we're bringing it to the dungeon.
Okay, should we send word that we've done the job? Should we send word?
Yes, sending a messenger would be reasonable, wouldn't it?
Might be easier to do in the morning.
If we pass by on the way back, like a place, is there a courier type
messengers
situation that we literally as we go by, I'll just be like, oh, hold here for a moment, and I'll just set the thing down and go inside and pay someone to send a message.
Yeah,
basically.
how much would that be?
If you're sending a message, I would suggest, just for ease, mention that we dealt with Tanuma 5.
Mm-hmm.
You might not know what that means, but I know.
Yeah.
I assume that you are referring to the 5th of her then, because she said she was now 480% more efficient.
I don't understand. There are 5 of her.
Are there more? 480
I know of
is quite a
5.
specific number.
I know of 5.
Okay. Well, we dealt with the 5th one. We'll see how many there are in the future.
I will send that message, basically just saying, we've picked up
like a silver.
your package. Yeah, a silver. Okay, I'll just let her know. I'll send that message just saying your requested package is ready. Please come by the house and pick it up anytime. And pay them, send that. And then come back out and just
Slosh to the dungeons. I imagine this thing's leaving a U trail. Actually, maybe not. It might not be bleeding.
It's not bleeding. It was leaking, but that kind of stops after a bit. So it's not that bad.
There is probably water and oil falling off of it.
Yeah, it's more the oil.
Yeah.
Than anything else.
We need to clean it. We need to clean it to make sure.
I do like that we didn't put a sheet over it or anything. It's just
we're just
and luckily,
I tried
like
to
you're
find
you're traveling back at the end of this cycle, right? So a lot of people step out of the way, but there's not that many people around. People really, you act like you belong in Narashiro. People usually are just going to keep out of your way, and you got a big monster. You're taking it somewhere. It's dead.
I mean,
sure.
People know Daveskos are dealing with the Illithids. Probably just like, food.
I don't think anyone gives a single shit about enough to know who any of you are. You aren't that important.
which is excellent.
By far.
That's actually better. Yeah.
It is the best news ever. When we have Yuna with us, we have to worry about that kind of shit.
That's true. Yeah.
Yuna is the one who might be recognized by people in the right
We can just
circles.
carry giant brain monsters to the streets and no one gives a rat's ass.
She would also stop to talk to people.
Yeah. I imagine that it's very much an eye catcher and a conversation starter. People will be like, oh, what's that? What did you do?
To Yuna, yes. To a weird funeral procession of one weirdo in the like strange
I
mask.
imagine that they were not going to ask anybody except for Voss.
And I will straight up ignore anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Who says anything to me. Like,
You could take it back to the dungeons. I don't know if you saw in the map, but the dungeon stuff does have a separate entrance. You can splop it down on a stone table. It's a bit too big for your main tables, but that's fine.
How's the prisoner doing as well? Is he terrified? Because I haven't killed him yet.
He is in a eternal pain.
Good.
He's not feeling too good.
The purpose of his life now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we come in here, I will just look at this prisoner who's done unspeakable.
You will see him actually tied to a chair with his head leaned back and a candle dipped upside down that is slowly melting away. And it has ball bearings that are turned very, very hot as the wax passes it. So I melted ball bearings into the wax, and the hot ball bearings are now dropping into his open throat that is held open by...
that is super cool.
Yeah.
Looking at this guy and based on our interaction with him, what would be his like standing within society? Like, is this guy just trash, or is he actually like a member of their house?
Peasant, maybe a member of their house, maybe mall cop. You know,
Yeah,
very low standing, guard for hire. Probably could have joined the military if he was good. You know, so really a nobody. There's a reason why no one seems to.
But he is like a registered, like a respected combatant. He wouldn't just be like a bandit level, like street trash kind of.
Really, you know, it's hard to tell. That's really up to you. You know.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll just look over to Racketh after just seeing this extremely unfortunate display. And Voss is just going to say, I take it you're done with him?
No, not yet.
In the capacity that he has given up any information that he might have.
But he still has something to give Lady Yuna, and until she's available, I cannot let him go.
Oh, yes, his soul, you mean?
Yes, correct. After all, I do serve House Davescos.
I'm just gonna walk upstairs.
Peace.
I'm going to have some fun. I'd like to dissect the brain.
Give me a medicine check.
Sure. That is okay.
So something you'd notice is the brain is not exactly as the brain of a humanoid creature would be. You know, yeah, it's a brain, but it you know, the texture, the placement of various brain bits are in the wrong places. It very much is a brain and probably functions as that way. You aren't entirely sure how it floats or flies. There's no biological answer, no air sacs or anything, which might have been, you know, a thought, because there are definitely creatures in the Underdark that float that way in the fungal forest.
Is there a magical reason for that?
That would be your assumption.
And could I make an Arcana check? Could I make an Arcana check to try and discern where that might essentially derive from with this beast?
Absolutely.
Okie dokie.
Yeah. You know, you take out an old book.
Yeah.
And kind of look over it, and something that's theorized is that magic of the mind is magic of the void. Which often grants abilities of telepathy, levitation, teleportation. And this creature did have intelligence. It's linked to intelligence. It is powers of the mind. So most likely some sort of void magic that is just innate within this creature, which would explain why there's no real sort of mark or anything. It does describe that void magic often is accompanied by some sort of glow. And when it pulsed, it definitely pulsed, you know, instead of it being, you know, blood running through the brain, it's kind of like a bluish ichor. So your thought would be that this is some kind of... This may even be a void creature, because the void is described as an outer realm. If you want to know more about that, that's going to be some research. But
I will absolutely be doing some research over the course of however much time I have available to do that. But I am going to, at this point, understanding that this is kind of, yes, this is my initial research, but also understanding that I don't want to upset the political balance, and I definitely want number 5 to have a look at this as well. I am going to hold off on further investigation of the creature itself and instead switch my research, if I can, to finding any books on that particular void information, because that's going to be kind of my. It makes more sense for me to do that aspect of it, given it's kind of, and it'll relate more to what Yuna's doing in all likelihood. So,
what does anyone else want to do? Torm, this is your quest. This is your quest giver. Would you be hanging around during all of this?
Torm will be hanging around, making sure that he'd be watching very curiously, and also be that sort of like worried person who's making sure they doesn't damage the thing too much as he's like investigating it. And he'd also be very curious about it. He probably at one stage would have looked at like the barbs at the end of the
They're almost translucent. The tendrils are kind of this purplish color. And actually kind of soft to the touch, but the barbs are almost translucent. You could imagine, if you get stung with one of these, Voss probably has some inside him that he's not even like properly aware of until they start healing over,
he would inform Voss that he might want to get that looked at.
Yeah, if you go up and tell me that literally what I'm doing upstairs is taking my armor off, rather having the attendants take it off. And as they're kind of putting it back on the, I don't know what those are called, but like
it's an armor stand.
Yeah, like just an armor stand.
It's a very simple thing called an armor stand.
I don't know if there's a specific word for it.
All right, calm your sass there.
Yeah, that's 2 words technically. Anyways.
Hyphenate it.
Yeah, whatever. We're not going to do this. So they, while they're putting the armor back on the armor stand.
Hey, good word.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you came up with that all on your own, huh?
I'm just literally going to say to the attendants who are doing this, just like, this needs to be repaired and cleaned. And then I'll turn my attention back to Torum, who's informing me about this unfortunate barb situation.
Yeah,
and I would literally just like kind of take my robes and like pull it to the side, like the shoulder, maybe where this wound happened, and I'm just kind of looking. And I'm like,
Gonna need some tweezers. Luckily, you know a guy who has some.
Yeah, exactly.
Several sizes, depending on your needs.
This is actually a really good job for him. Yeah, this is like perfect.
I'll just
if you actually want to
go downstairs and
you have a surgeon on staff.
Exactly.
One thing I will say, as soon as I figure out that you have those in your body, I'm actually going to look to Torum and I'm going to say, wouldn't it be fun to put these on the end of some bolts?
I don't know if they act quick enough for battle, but they could be useful for specifically causing lasting damage.
Yes, more my specialty.
Indeed.
If you want to give me a medicine check to remove the barbs from Voss, you absolutely can.
Yeah, absolutely. This isn't a sleight of hand. This is a medicine, just to confirm. They're the same for me, so it doesn't really matter.
They're the same, so yeah, medicine.
Right. Okay. It's more just whatever you want to do.
I heard a kitty. Absolutely. This takes no real time at all, and surprisingly doesn't really hurt Voss. He actually does know what he's doing and is careful. He knows so much about the body that he knows how to cause as much or as little pain.
And you'll see he actually is like applying sutures as he goes too. Like he is sealing up your wounds as he's pulling the barbs out, because he's utilizing the points of the barbs as well to actually leverage the skin to lift up as he's going through and suturing. Basically, he's doing this very quickly as well, but efficiently, and it doesn't hurt you.
Great.
Much. And there's still barbs coming out of your skin, and I'm still sewing you up. It's gonna hurt, but
that's fine. That's
okay.
all good.
It's kind of bit before any of you would decide to get rest, when the door opens, the main door, and Jericho walks in mid-conversation with an illithid. This illithid floats in, taller than any one of you, a little bit over 6 feet. The robes kind of cascade down in such a, okay, not taller than Rakath.
Rakath is currently hunched over a beast, though, so he's currently taller than Rakath.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wearing kind of drow-ish robes, actually. Sorry, my note page hates me today.
Oh god.
Kind of wearing drow-ish robes, although there's kind of an armor that is very what you imagine might be Ebimari fashion. It's almost like bone, but not bone stitched together. It's like the bone has been grown into the shape of this breastplate and kind of this hornish design on the shoulders. It's kind of organic. And, you hear Jericho's side of the conversation. And of course, not the other side. Jericho would actually kind of look in to the tea room where how many of you are in there?
I imagine once I finished with Voss, I actually would have gone back down to the dungeon. I'm still studying, but I'm actually researching now. I'm not investigating the beast.
So I blanked. Are you upstairs or not?
I am not.
I probably would be now, especially now that this visitor is here. Torum is very curious. He may not admit it, but he would be there.
Jericho would say, Voss, no. This is Katarat. He is the diplomat from the Ebimari hive mind. I believe that is the correct term, and the Mind Flayer essentially shrugs.
I will, I'll give the Mind Flayer a pretty venerable bow, as you would to a diplomat, like someone in this type of position, and say to him in deep speech, I was not expecting such prestigious company.
The facial tendrils kind of clearly twist in a bit of a facial reaction, and he actually reaches out and touches your mind, speaking directly into your mind with a very clear, very calm, almost radio voice of a, yes, I am here on potentially worrying business. I have been told you are a samurai of high repute.
I just give him a nod and say, well, I would be lying if I said it didn't please me to know that you have heard of me by name. What is it exactly that I can help you with?
Your house master informed me of your skills. Katarat actually does pause. The eyes of a Mind Flayer are kind of black and glossy, but he definitely looks at Torum for a few moments. It's kind of, you can almost see the veins pulsing under the thin, glossy skin of his head.
Having a stare off, because Torum will be just...
Yeah, because Torum doesn't react
staring
either.
back.
And his kind of the head is actually slightly tilted to the side. You and your war contraption there might be of great value. You see, I believe that some of my people may want to bring harm to yours. Just as with your kind, not all are so whole-mindedly agreed with our allegiance of races. I believe that an Ebimari weapon has been put in place in some ruins of Narashiro. And I believe that those who wish to control this place, believing your kind lesser than my kind, would use that weapon to wage fear.
Troubling indeed, then. There can be no alliance between our peoples if we do not crush insurgents such as this. On both my side and on yours. I understand why you've come here then.
Yes. While officially this is a diplomatic meeting, because such knowledge must be kept under stealth. I do have trepidation about the missing weapon.
Do you have any leads on where it might be? Or on whom within
Would
your
you allow
pipeline?
me to impart upon you knowledge? This may be uncomfortable for a mind such as yours to receive.
If it will be more effective that way, then yes, I've heard of your capabilities. Though I must admit I've never experienced them before.
He actually makes a very slight motion with long, spindly fingers, which have been just clasped very gently in front of him the whole time. He kind of stands like a drow, which is a little weird. Information is pushed into your head. You can kind of see a route through the city into a seemingly storeroom of some kind. It is old as is much. I believe hidden in plain sight. The weapon's capabilities to create threats is palpable. It must be cleared, and if not recovered, destroyed. I would accept that possibility.
Very well.
How would we disable it if that is a better outcome?
The weapon is an infection. You destroy all the vectors of it, but it forms central growths, the largest of which, if destroyed and you destroy the stragglers, it should wither away. It has happened before.
I do have one question as well. From the way it's been explained to me and my limited understanding of your people, you are all connected, as it were. It would seem, with such an efficient way of managing one another, insurrection would be nearly impossible. How do you imagine that something like this would have even come about?
Imagine... It is hard to put to the terms of a creature single-minded such as yours. But we are individual, connected via the hive mind. I am far from Ebimari. I am no longer part of the chorus of song. I am on my own. Far from Ebimari, we are on our own. And that is but one chorus. There are many. There are some chorus who wage wars with the others. There are those who sing discordantly to us. Just as you have, no doubt, drow who despise your daimao, we have those who despise the chorus of Ebimari. It may be that this insurrection is one lone individual, or it might be a new chorus. That I do not know. I would be interested to know such information.
Very well.
Here's a quick question. Would Torin be hearing this?
No, this is directly to Voss.
Okay. Then I wouldn't have spoken up when I did, then, if that's the case, yeah.
Yeah. To Voss, you just hear, to Torum, you just hear Voss's side.
Yeah.
Very well, then it must be difficult for you being disconnected from your kin, I can only imagine. But nonetheless, if there is some type of uprising or offshoot, it is not merely an isolated individual. We will be sure to find out exactly what manner of heresy has been going on. And you can destroy this weapon, if not recover it.
You have the knowledge.
Yes, and this weapon, you say, creates an infection?
It is an infection. It creates threat.
No, when you say it creates threat, what exactly does it do to those that it infects?
They, from one, become many, much like the chorus. It is quite delicate invention of our kind in recent years. They become stronger the closer they are, as are many.
Very well. Do you have any advice for engaging in combat with these individuals? Or this group of individuals, as it were?
The infection can only truly garner a stronghold footing on the dead. While it may asphyxiate the living, it is slow. You will not have to worry about your own falling unless you fall permanently. It means that those who are infected have a hard constitution, but a slow pace.
The way you speak of it, it sounds similar to undeath.
Similar, but far more elegant.
Very well. You've given me a task. Now, of course,
You can hear from downstairs. Very loud sneeze.
Oh,
giant,
Oh.
it rattles. It rattles through the door, and you just oh. Yep.
Now, back to what I was saying. He has allergies, It's that season. The dry season is just brutal for Rakat's allergies. I apologize for the interruption.
That one nostril is just really, really bulbous.
I mean, it's
so
worth it
everything just gets
overtime
right
because
in
the other
there.
one's closed off, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'll just say to him, you've given me a task. You've explained what must be done, and as a samurai standing in line of House Tabletop, I of course am not remiss to aid you in such as it benefits both our peoples, and at the end of the day, that is ultimately all I seek to do, is to serve. But I would be failing in that service if I did not at least inquire about what House Tabletop has to gain from the use of our services.
A mixture of alchemy and currency.
Very well. I presume the details have been or are being worked out with the master of the house.
We shall discuss such things whilst you are away.
Understood. And then I'm just going to look over to the attendants, who I imagine are still kind of like fixing the armor and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm just gonna give them that look that means like hurry up, because I need this done sooner rather than later. And I'll just say, very well, we will make our preparations. If you require anything else of us before we depart, you know where to find us. We will be here. That is all.
Does anyone have a handkerchief?
At this point, Jericho very hurriedly brings Catarant into his office. And we're actually going to take a real quick break.
Oh no, he's here.